what you're saying. So there's no black and white when it comes to sexual orientation from a scientific perspective.
I think, even if we can't agree on, anything else, we should be able to agree that abusing children's a bad deal. And allowing kids to be bullied is not a good thing. And when we have these hate that's just been pushed down for, hundreds and hundreds
and
of
it's visceral.
It's just put on these kids. At the end of the day, that still sucks, dude.
Yeah.
So, even if you think that this kid's an unnatural, horrible thing, maybe if you accepted that they're a human, you'd have some empathy and wouldn't want this to go on, It's deeply frustrating.
And it is dangerous.
It is absolutely dangerous.
And there are kids that are watching, and there are entire people groups that devote their entire life to being sure that I don't ever sleep with a man, which I think is absolutely. And so my question to you is, as a heterosexual man, reasonably intelligent, I'm going to give you that.
I appreciate that.
I think it's safe to say I can give you a little bit of that, not too much, because you don't want to be private.
Right? No. My head's big enough as it is.
The Bible says about pride. I still read my Bible. Anyway, are you uncomfortable being around me as a gay man? And if you're not uncomfortable around me, can you explain how that phenomenon works for you? Because it's kind of unusual.
So, first of all, I genuinely didn't expect you to ask me if I'm uncomfortable with you. I'm not, and I am actually stifling laughter because it's such a silly thing that you'd have to ask. But I get why you do. I'm not saying it's a dumb question. It blows me away that we are still at a point 2020 freaking 2 where we have to be like, hey, is it cool if I exist near you?
Isn't it phenomenal?
You know what I mean?
And that's why I brought it up, because I'm like, this is where we are.
Yeah, no, I don't give half a damn, and the reason why is because I have no why would I?
Yeah.
Why I do not care at all what you do with your junk, my guy. As long as you're doing it with one or more consenting adults, we're good. We're good.
Isn't it wonderful?
Do you care what I'm doing with mine?
Absolutely not.
Because why would you?
Not the least bit of interest. Hashtag be great.
So be great. I love that. So what I don't get is these people said a second ago, these people who are just out here trying everything they can do to make sure you don't sleep with a man. Why?
I
care so much about your
and all my right, it's mine. It belonged to me.
Why is it so interesting?
Why are you fascinated?
They
two
just
things about that.
Thinking about your
two things about that. If you're a man, you got other questions that you need to be.
And they're gonna call you weird, and their whole life is like, he better not be putting that weird.
You see?
It's so stupid, man.
And just for biblical reference, have you ever noticed that the woman that was caught up in the act of adultery and everything, like, we caught this woman in the act of adultery? My question has always been about that story is, first of all, where's the guy? Because it takes two to tango and that whole thing. And one, why were they so overly preoccupied about this woman caught in the act of adultery? Do you know how much time and energy and intention you have to put into that to find a woman caught in the very act of adultery? I wonder if we're just doing that same parallel, bringing it on 2,000 years into current day and doing the exact same thing that Jesus rebukes in a very low-key, passive-aggressive, very phenomenal way. Anyway, bringing that back to center.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Wonderful. So you're not uncomfortable with it?
Not at all. I wouldn't have. Honestly, I wouldn't have even discussed you being gay if you didn't ask me to, number one, or I didn't have something funny to say about it. Like, that's all. The same way I would about literally anything else, because it's no different than anything else. I have no interest in it. And why? And the only reason why people bring it up, and the only reason why people are talking about it, if I'm honest with you, the way I see it, it's the same reason whenever you have one really uncomfortable white guy trying to impress a room full of black people and show how not racist they are. It's the exact same energy, bro.
Brother, how are you? Like, okay, hashtag doing the most.
Little southern flag.
Yeah, like how you being so, black people don't talk like that. Bring it down. You're doing the most.
It's same thing like, so I had my rainbow flag out yesterday. Is that cool?
Like, how do you angle it? It's like, no, we're okay.
And you just tell they're super uncomfortable. Like, no, that's the thing. I remember when I was in school, it was actually the very first biology class I ever took. My professor was a black man, and he had this picture up of these three scientists. It was two white scientists and one black one. And the two white scientists, they had these thought bubbles above their head. they're all in the lab working, and they add like, oh, I hope he doesn't think I'm racist, and oh, should I talk about soul food or something to kind of identify with him? Should I talk, all these things, and like their thought bubble is just full of like, how do I make this guy not think that I hate him, all this stuff. And the black scientist, his thought bubble is just all equations. Yeah, he's doing his job. He's just there to work. He's not about you like exactly, because why would he? That's not the point.
But that's where the ego and pride and the arrogance comes in. Where first of all you're thinking, and it's amazing. Look, so that's also fascinating. So you're not uncomfortable with me, but you don't think that I'm hitting on you too. Like you're a reasonably attractive person. But I'm like, oh my God, you're like, we ain't looking at you like that.
The amount of people that think that every gay person is trying to sleep with
everyone.
Oh, so you're gay, so then you're trying to get with me, bro? No. Why? It would be the same thing as if I came into a room and said, hey, I'm straight, and every woman like, well, I'm not with. I didn't ask.
No.
Why would I? Because, and that's the thing, is that it's a complete set of double standards. You wouldn't treat anybody this way. It's just for you.
It's just unique for you.
Exactly.
Like it works for one side of the street. It doesn't work across the board. And these inconsistencies that are in our culture is why we have up to this point in time being in place. But it's coming up to be healed.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very hopeful in this conversation, is that we are in a place where we can put all this on the table. Look at it. Now the solutions for it, personally, I don't think we're going to see this in our lifetime, in our generation, like huge mountainous leaps and strides beyond what we have, but we're making progress. We're making headway. By putting this all on the table and saying, this is what we're looking at. It's crazy as hell. We don't know what we're doing. But the way we've been doing it up to this point has not been serving us well.
Right.
So we need to make some changes. For you, as a scientist, as a human being, for the children that you will one day, in 5 years, 10 years, that you would have, what is the one thing that you would want if they to come to you and say, hey, Dad, I'm gay, or lesbian, or non-bi? What would you want them to know?
What they want for dinner, because that's what we'll.
Yo, and I love that. It was not totally.
Honestly, like real answer would be I would want them to know that I love them no matter what.